this out.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually when you tune in, we are wading through the weeds of academic journals, breaking down tech specs, or, analyzing market trends.
Very cerebral stuff.
Very cerebral, very left brain, very here is the data. But today, we are ripping up the script. We're shifting gears entirely to look at something that feels less like a research paper and more, like a rhythm. Something visceral.
It's a massive departure, I'll give you that, but I'd argue it's a necessary one.
Yeah.
We spend so much time analyzing how the world works, but we rarely look at texts that tell us, how to survive living in it.
And that's what we have on the table.
That's what we've got. We're looking at a piece titled Rising Above the Chaos, The Gospel of Point Blank.
The Gospel of Point Blank. Just the title alone sets a certain tone, doesn't it? It sounds urgent. And the author's persona is just as intense. He calls himself the Reverend Point Blank, but I love this. He also goes by the Witicizer of comedy.
That combination is, I think, the key to the whole thing. You got Reverend, which signals this spiritual authority, guidance, maybe a bit of fire and brimstone.
Right.
But then you have Witicizer, which is all about humor, satire.
Yeah.
Like the court jester who's the only one allowed to tell the king the truth.
So you need both.
I think he's saying you need both. To navigate the chaos he's writing about, you can't just be serious. You need the gravity of a preacher, sure, but you also need the sharpness of a comedian to just laugh at the absurdity of it all.
Yeah, and he grounds this persona geographically right away. He says he hails from the Chi. For our listeners who might not be up on their American slang, that's Chicago.
Right. And that context is so crucial. This isn't a manifesto written from some silent monastery in the mountains.
No.
This is wisdom forged in the noise. It's urban. It's gritty. It's coming from a place where chaos isn't some abstract concept. It's the daily reality of the streets, the traffic, the politics, all of it.
Point blank, some of them will jump and bail. Some will go to jail. Most don't know who they are, so you can't expect them to go very far. You see, I'm ferocious as a lion, swift as an eagle. I move with purpose, grounded and gifted with that special kind of regal. I question the system that blinds my people, and that's the real truth. I challenge the powers that be, because I dropped that noose. We talk about politics and the power of this game. For years they've been selling us lies, but we are calling out names. Many of us are in relationships built on fragile foundations, causing false truths and riches. It's all just temptation. What's your purpose? What's your legacy? In this world full of lies, it's hard to be who you're here to be. Oh yes, the question echoes louder. Why the hell are you even here? To live a life of confusion or to rise up without that fear? Life is complex, but oh, how we simplify the mess. We dive into the depths with no desire to suppress or second guess that mess. Pause your breath amidst this shit and let the chaos just fade away. Because we've been fighting hella storms, but we are here to stay. Division, racism, politics, and death are some of the headlines that hurt. But we're not talking that poison. We are here to work. The tragic news hits home, but we don't get struck. We rise above it all, having no bad luck. So grab your talent, your soul, and your mind. Find your one piece that's created by your own design. Chill in the moment. Reflect on the grind. Find your purpose, sit back, and just really unwind. We just chillin', still growing strong. And oh yes, we understand it. Finding peace in this madness, cause we know what's wrong. The Reverend Point Blank, that's my name. I know you know. So we rise up, move forward, and make the movement flow. So let's escape the nonsense and chaos so we can change the game. Cause we just chillin', keep on moving, and we will never change. Point blank. Enjoy your time.
So let's talk about the mission of this text. Because when I first read it, I struggled to categorize it. Is it a poem? Is it a sermon? What is it?
I think manifesto is the closest fit. It really is a declaration of intent. I mean, the text is tackling that universal suffocating feeling of modern overwhelm.
We all feel it.
We all feel it. The doom scrolling, the 24-hour news cycle, the pressure. But instead of giving us like a list of 10 productivity hacks, Point Blank gives us this stream of consciousness about identity and resilience. He's looking at how a specific voice can cut through the universal noise.
And before he even starts swinging at the chaos, he plants his feet. There's this dedication right at the top that I think provides the emotional anchor for everything that follows. He writes, I always love my mama. She's forged my character. All of the work is dedicated to my mother, Lorene.
Forged.
Yeah.
That is such a deliberate verb. Character isn't something you just, pick up at the store.
No, it's hammered out.
Forged, like steel in a fire. By dedicating this to his mother, Lorene, he's establishing his lineage. In a world he later describes as full of lies and confusion, he starts by saying, I know where I come from. Just sets this tone of foundational respect.
It's like he's saying, I might be a reverend and a witicizer, but primarily I am Lorene's son. It humanizes him, but then almost immediately he switches into this larger-than-life persona. This is where the text gets incredibly visual for me.
Oh, yeah.
He describes his nature with this really striking duality. He says, you see, I'm ferocious as a lion, sweet as an eagle.
I stopped reading and just stared at that line for a solid minute. Sweet as an eagle.
It stops you in your tracks. We all know the lion metaphor. Ferocious as a lion. That's standard. It's grounded, powerful, territorial.
Dangerous if provoked.
Right. But an eagle, I think of an eagle as majestic or predatory or sharp, but sweet. I don't get sweet.
It's definitely not sweet like a kitten or a piece of candy. I think he's using sweet in the way like an athlete or a jazz musician might use it. That jump shot was sweet.
Ah, okay.
Like effortless.
Effortless mastery. But think about the spatial difference between those two animals. The lion is terrestrial. It is in the mud, fighting for every inch of ground. It represents the necessity of confrontation.
Okay, right. The lion deals with the immediate threat of the eagle.
The eagle is thousands of feet in the air. It's detached. It has a higher vantage point. It sees the storm, but it isn't getting rained on. I think the sweetness is that clarity, the ability to rise above the scuffle and see the whole picture.
That makes perfect sense. And he follows that up by saying he moves with that special kind of regal. So he's claiming a nobility in both states, whether he's fighting on the ground or soaring above it.
He's refusing to be a victim, and that dignity is his armor. Because once he establishes who he is, lion and eagle, he immediately pivots to attacking the world around him. He does not pull punches. He writes, I question the system that blinds my people.
He's diagnosing the environment, and he's skeptical of the whole structure. He says, I challenge the powers that be because I dropped that noose. That is a heavy, heavy image. It's so loaded with historical weight oppression, lynching, the history of race in America, especially coming from a Chicago context. But notice the agency in that sentence. He didn't wait for someone to cut him down. He says, I dropped that noose.
That is a radical declaration of freedom.
It is. He's saying that the noose, in the modern context, whether that's victimhood or dependency on the system or just buying into the narrative that you are powerless, it's something you have to choose to let go of.
You have to drop it yourself.
By dropping it, he emancipates himself mentally. He's declaring he is no longer bound by the constraints the system tries to place on it.
And because he's free, he can see the game for what it is. He writes, for years they've been selling us lies, but we are calling out names. It feels like he's fed up with the deception.
Oh, there is deep political disillusionment here. He later mentions politics and the power of this game. He sees the whole societal structure, the media, the partisan fighting as this rigged game designed to keep people confused.
And his solution isn't to play the game better.
No, or to pick a side. It's to step back and call it what it is. To name the lies.
And this is what makes the text so interesting to me. He doesn't just blame the system and leave it there. He turns the lens on the individual. He looks at how people crumble under this pressure. He says, some of them will jump and bail, some will go to jail.
He's observing the fallout of the pressure cooker. When you put human beings in a system designed to blind them, they crack. Jump and bail suggests giving up, checking out.
Addiction, maybe?
Maybe even self-harm or addiction.
Yeah.
And go to jail suggests lashing out, getting trapped in criminality.
And then comes the core diagnosis. Why do they fail? Why do they jump or go to jail? He says, most don't know who they are.
If you underline one sentence in this entire text, that should be it.
That's the one.
Most don't know who they are. It is the root cause of the chaos. Point Blank is arguing that the reason people are susceptible to the lies of the system, the reason they get swept away, is because they lack that internal anchor.
They don't have the Mother Lorene Foundation.
Exactly. They don't have the Lion Eagle's self-definition. They are empty vessels just waiting to be told who to be.
And if you don't know who you are, you're just a leaf blowing in the wind. You have no mass to resist the storm.
Precisely. And this lack of identity creates a vacuum that people try to fill with the wrong things. This leads us right into the second part of his argument, the trap. He writes about relationships and materialism. Many of us end relationships built on fragile foundations, causing false truths and riches. It's all just temptation.
Fragile foundations. That connects right back to not knowing who you are. If I don't know myself, what am I building a relationship on? Loneliness? Status?
Or you build it on riches, which he just dismisses as temptation. He's suggesting that our interpersonal failures and our obsession with material success are actually symptoms of that deeper spiritual void. We chase false truths. The idea that money buys happiness, or that a title gives you value, because we don't have the internal truth of our own design.
It's like building a house on a sinkhole. And then he confronts the listener directly. He stops describing the world and he asks, why the hell are you even here?
It's a total gut check question. It's aggressive.
It is. He presents this binary choice. He says to live a life of confusion or to rise up without that fear.
Confusion or fearlessness. He sees confusion as the default state of modern life. I mean, if you aren't actively fighting to rise up, you are by default living in confusion. And look at the list of stressors he rattles off later to prove his point.
Yeah, he reads the headlines like a grocery list of trauma. Division, racism, politics, and death.
He calls them headlines that hurt. And I think that is such a profound way to describe news consumption. It doesn't just inform you, it inflicts damage, it hurts your psyche. But
here is where that eagle persona comes back in. He talks about his reaction to this pain. He says, the tragic news hits home, but we don't get struck.
I love that distinction. Hits home means he's empathetic. He feels it. He's not numb to the racism or the death, but we don't get struck means he doesn't let it knock him off his axis.
He doesn't let it destroy his equilibrium.
Right. It implies a shield, a resilience. He says, we rise above it all, having no bad luck. It sounded almost superstitious to me at first, no bad luck, but I think he means something else.
Woohoo!
I think he's reframing the concept of luck entirely. If you are rising above, if you are operating as the eagle, then the random events on the ground, the bad luck of politics or the economy, they just don't apply to you in the same way.
You've removed yourself from the jurisdiction of luck.
By taking control of your mindset, you've opted out of the victim pool.
Precisely. And that leads us to the most practical part of the deep dive, the solution. Because he's diagnosed the problem, the system, the lack of identity, the headlines. But what do we do?
And this is where the branding is just so on point.
My favorite part. The movement is centered around Jus Chillin.
It sounds so casual, doesn't it?
Right. If I tell my boss I'm just chillin' during a crisis, I'm getting fired. But the Reverend Point Blank isn't talking about sitting on the couch eating chips.
Not at all. He acknowledges the difficulty first. He writes, life is complex, but oh, how we simplify the mess. He wants to cut through that complexity, and his instruction is so visceral. Pause your breath amidst the shit and let the chaos just fade away.
Amidst the shit. He's not saying go on a retreat to Bali. He's saying do this in the middle of the mess.
That is the key. It's a tactical pause. Physiologically, when we're stressed, we're in the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, we're the lion. By consciously pausing your breath, you force a switch to the parasympathetic system. You force your body to calm down.
So the chaos fades away not because the world changed,
but because your reaction to it changed. But he clarifies immediately, and this is critical, that this isn't about checking out. He says, but we're not talking that poison. We are here to work.
He equates laziness with poison.
So chillin is the opposite of laziness. It is a strategic clearing of the deck so that you can work.
But the work he describes isn't a 9-to-5 grind. He defines the work as grabbing your talent, your soul, and your mind. He wants you to find your one piece that's created by your own design.
And this circles right back to the identity crisis. The work is the work of self-discovery. It's finding that specific talent or purpose, your one piece that is unique to you. And you can't find that if you are constantly reacting to the headlines that hurt.
You need the silence.
You need the silence of the chill to hear your own soul. It reminds me of the concept of flow. You can't be in a flow state if you're terrified. You have to be relaxed to perform at your peak.
Exactly. And he gives a daily prescription for this. He says, chill in the morning, reflect on the grind.
You reflect on the grind.
Yeah.
That is such an interesting reversal of rise and grind.
I thought so too. Rise and grind implies you jump out of bed and immediately start fighting. Point Blank says no.
Chill first.
Chill first. Gain the altitude of the eagle. Look at the grind from above. Reflect on it. Strategize. Then engage.
And the goal is to find your purpose, sit back, and just really unwind. And again, unwind here means removing the tension so that action becomes fluid. Later he says, so we rise up, move forward, and make the movement flow. He wants momentum, but he wants to do it without the friction of anxiety.
And he's really built a whole digital ecosystem around this. He mentions his YouTube station and the website wejuschillin.com.
It's brilliant branding, the Witicizer, plus the Reverend. He's combining the laughter and the prayer. And the tagline he uses, we just chillin', still growing strong. It just challenges that whole hustle culture narrative.
The one that says, if you aren't suffering, you aren't growing.
Exactly. Point Blank argues that true strength comes from peace. And he creates a direct link between peace and knowledge.
Yeah.
He writes, we understand that finding peace in this madness because we know what's wrong.
Because we know what's wrong.
That's the intellectual piece of the puzzle. I mean, anxiety thrives on the unknown. Why is this happening? Am I safe? Point Blank says. We've analyzed the system. We know it's a game. We know they're selling lies. We know the foundations are fragile.
And once you know the monster's name, it's not as scary.
The knowledge strips the chaos of its power. You can find peace in the madness because you aren't confused by it anymore. You see the matrix.
You've got the cheat codes, or in this case, the gospel.
You've got the gospel.
So let's zoom out. If we take the gospel of Point Blank as a manual for modern survival, what's the core message for you listening today?
I think it's a reminder that we have more agency than we think. We tend to feel like the chaos of the world, the politics, the economy, the news, is something that happens to us.
Right, that we're passive.
And Point Blank is saying, no, the chaos is there, yes, but you have a choice. You have the choice to jump and bail or the choice to rise up.
And the choice to define yourself.
Remember, most don't know who they are. The system wants to define you. The headlines want to define you as a victim or a consumer. Point Blank is calling on you to define yourself by your own design.
And he closes with this thought on endurance. He says, so let's escape the nonsense and chaos so we can change the game.
Change the game. That's the ultimate goal. He's not escaping just to hide. He's stepping back to gain the strength to actually change reality. He ends by saying, because we just chillin', keep on moving, and we will never change.
We will never change. In a world where everything shifts so fast, that consistency sounds like a superpower.
It is integrity. The world changes.
Yeah.
The lies change. But we, the people who know who they are, who are grounded like the lion and sweet like the eagle, we remain constant. We endure.
It's refreshing to hear something so raw. There's no corporate gloss on this. It's just point blank.
It's authentic. And in a world of false truths, authenticity is the most valuable currency we have.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the gospel of Point Blank, we want to leave you with a question to carry with you. We talked a lot about that duality, the lion and the eagle.
The fighter on the ground and the observer in the sky.
Right. So look at your own life right now. The stack of papers on your desk, the family stress, the news alerts on your phone. Which animal is driving the bus for you? Are you operating as the ferocious lion, clawing at every single problem and exhausting yourself in the mud? Or are you so detached like the eagle that you aren't actually getting anything done?
It's all about balance. But the critical question is this. Which one do you actually need to be right now? Sometimes you have to roar. But I think for a lot of us, in this moment,
We probably need to take the Reverend's advice.
pause the breath.
Just chill and rise above it. Thanks for listening to the deep dive.
Keep moving.